In Chapter 2, we're going to discuss functions, equations, and graphs, really of linear equations and what we reviewed in Algebra 1. A relationship is really any pairing of x and y values or your input and output values without any specifications on values repeating it, whether it's in the domain or range. What is the domain? The domain is, if you recall, all the set of input values or your x values, whereas your range is your set of output values, your y values. In Algebra 1, to get my students to remember the difference between the two or to distinguish the difference between the two, I remind them that D comes before R in the alphabet as well as X comes before Y in the alphabet. So in the first example, we'll just do one of these because I think it'll be sufficient for you to remember. But we're going to write the set of numbers that will be provided. So set of numbers as a table of values. Table of value as a mapping. And also graphically. So the set of numbers is going to be provided inside these funny looking braces. So we list out the coordinate points, the ordered pairs is another way of calling these, inside the set notation. And from there, this is the problem that's given. We're going to take that and organize it in a familiar way, table of values. The table of values splits the x's and y's and puts them in the appropriate column without really worrying about the order. We can put them in order if we like, we don't have to. This is just a different way of organizing that set of numbers. Mapping on the other hand, so we did the table of values in the same color. I'm going to switch and do a mapping now in purple. So the mapping is in purple. And for that, what you do is you draw a little bubble. You list out all of the x values in increasing order without any repetition of numbers. Same with the y's. And with the y's, you'll notice that there is 2 3s in the original problem, which will only list it out once. So it's each unique value. And then from there, you're drawing arrows to associate the pairs that were given. So -5 is ordered with 6. So draw arrow from -5 to 6, from -2 to -1, from 0 to 3, from 1 to 3, and then finally from 2 to 5. For the graph, what we do is we draw, this is just graphing as you guys are used to, so I'll give you guys a moment to record that in your notes, but -5, for example, +6 will fall in your fourth quadrant. Sorry, in your second quadrant. -2, -1, 0, 3, 1, 3, and 2, 5. Finally, we have that your problems might ask you to list your domain and range. Your domain is your list of all your input values in increasing order. So I would take a look at your mapping. It has all the x values increasing from -5 to 2. And then your range would be -1, 3, 5, and 6. And again, you wouldn't repeat. If there are repeating values like there were on the y's, you wouldn't list it out. So -1, 3, 5, 6. And then finally, is this a function or not? To make that determination, one simple thing to use is to see whether or not the x's are repeating at all. We see the x's are not repeating, only the y's, which is okay. So in terms of the definition of a function, that is a function. I'd like you guys to take a look at the mapping that's given to you below A, B, and C. And there will be a question that pops up to have you guys answer those. So go ahead and determine if those are functions or not. And then go ahead and do example number 2 as well. And I will list it as problem A, B, and C. And then for this, let's call this E and then this F.